discuss the dog park petition that was presented to the board.
You know we were gonna talk about it?
What?
Do they know that we were gonna talk about it?
Yes. They asked for it to be put on the
You said
agenda.
they were gonna have representatives here.
All right, well, we'll give them a little bit of grace and time. We'll skip over it for the time being. 43D grant presentation.
Mr. Chairman, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. Included in your packet was the elements that comprise the application for the priority development site funds. And you can see from the map that's been provided, the intent of the grant is to apply for funds up to $150,000. And it would be for the purposes of providing expedited permitting on the development of the remaining portion of the Berry Center. That would be 36.7 acres for this program. The grant proposal that's been put before the board, the intention is to submit it to the state, to do so this coming week. The interagency planning group that's responsible for reviewing and recommending grant funding meets on a interregular basis, and for them to consider grant applications for their next meeting, which is coming up in early May. The deadline for us is April 25th. We apologize that there was not more of an opportunity to put this plan before you, but the application that's here really has has a total of 3 tasks, and what I can do is go through them and answer any questions that you have. The first task is, and again, keep in mind this applies only to the site, the 36.7 acres of land. The first is to assist the development team in developing rules and regulations to allow for expedited permitting for the priority development site. And wherever you see the words Development Review Committee or DRC, that means our development team, which consists of many of our department heads, which meets on a monthly basis, to review projects and get together and address common issues amongst all of the departments. So this would be putting together a set of rules and regulations, and those rules and regulations would dovetail with the permitting guide that's already been put together by the Community Planning Commission. And the intent then would be to have this document available, hire a consultant who come in and provide us with the work that's necessary to implement new rules and regulations that provide for expedited permitting.
So under task 1, Greg, the $70,425 is for outside consultant.
That's for an outside person to come in.
Cost for producing documents.
It is, and to really work us through any public hearings that may be required because we need to change rules and regulations. There's needs for public hearing and such. And you can see from it the steps that we hope to accomplish, which would be developing the rules and regulations, providing for a consolidated application package, and then lastly to complete the permitting guide, which would all of them together. The second task would be to undertake a review of the town's technology infrastructure, and the amount that's been requested is $29,500, and the tasks are to review and evaluate permit tracking software, to develop electronic forms of various applications, to update the town's website, to incorporate those documents, to review our existing hardware and software needs as it relates to expedited permitting, and then to provide for the necessary level of training that would require for us to be able to go forward. And we would anticipate that we would bring in a IT expert who would assist us in looking at these options. It may not necessarily be the same person, because the person who's going to be looking at our hardware and software needs may not necessarily be the same person who's providing us and will be providing evaluation of permit tracking software. There's a lot of interesting permit tracking software out there that we hope that we can acquire through this. And then the last and final task that we have, where the most substantial funds will be, is to purchase and install those items that were identified in the prior tasks. And the amount of that request is $102,955. And we would anticipate is having those consultants put together a bid package, and we will be going out and putting items up there. The major purpose of this, goal of this would be, to the greatest extent possible, to have all of our permit applications and all of our permit information available in electronic format. Right now, as you know, we have a room dedicated in town hall that has file cabinet after file cabinet, and then anyone that has ever come in and filed for a permit application, all of those paper files exist in the file room. And the intent would be not necessarily to go back and make all of those old documents in electronic format. It would be to establish a point going forward that all that information could be kept in an electronic form. And you will recall from earlier discussions, I'm sure from the town clerk, that in the past she felt that this was something that would be important for the town clerk's office. And we agree with that. And the town clerk's office is obviously a part of those plans, but we believe that the other municipal departments could very much take advantage of this, and that would include the departments that identified in the fund.
I would think engineering.
It would be the, wait a second. It would involve the building planning, conservation, board of health, zoning board of appeals, town clerk, town administrator, water department, engineering, and assessing departments. So those would be the departments that would take advantage of that. And again, the intent of this is to reduce the paper that we have, and the fact that every time information is needed, people are having to go into the file room and file it. So we think that this is a noteworthy effort that not only will help us being efficient in terms of this 43E development, but I think it'll help us overall in terms of being more efficient in terms of responding to permit needs. So the total project, and you have a copy of the project budget and the time frame, total request is for $149,880. And happy to answer any questions.
Greg, when will we know what monies we've got on the grant? In other words, my question is, we're not gonna spend this money before we get the grant, are we?
That's correct, we wouldn't spend any.
So if we only get, because I know the grant is up to 150,000.
Right.
So if we're given 100,000,
Right.
we're not gonna spend another 50, am I correct?
No, we wouldn't spend anything above what we were requested, and I'm sure the state reserves the right to go through this and pick and choose which pieces they will fund or not fund. Ultimately, that's up to them. We do feel that it all ties together, and
Right.
it's really important to get the computer technology here to make the whole thing work.
But we won't be expending any
Right.
money until we
Right.
know we have a grant for whatever.
Right,
amount
and
it
in
is.
fact, I recall reading the regulations, they will not reimburse you for anything that you purchase in advance,
Right.
so we can't do it.
Yeah, and if the grant is for less, then, clearly, we have to go back and take a look at this, because what you don't wanna do is have the front end of something and not have the back end, or the back end and not have the front end, which I think is one of the concerns you're raising.
Yeah.
So that we don't get stuck with having to put up some money,
75,000.
at least without having the opportunity to consider it.
Are we, the 1 and 2 seems to presume we'll go out and hire some form of consultant. Is this, would we be allowed to do this through use of the reallocation of staff, and charge that staff cost?
It's
Our own
interesting.
employees?
It's interesting. We felt as though probably step number one is best, which is to hire a planning consultant. Is probably something that's best placed in the hands of an outside expert. Or as you are correct in noting that some of the IT-related items could be handled by people that are in-house. This proposal does not presume that, and it's possible that if the state gives us less funding, that we will look internally to have our people do a study. But as it's written right now, it's presumed that we bring in outside experts to help us put this information together.
Even in task two,
I think there's some advantage to using our staff. Anyways, allocation of staff, of course, would allow us to save money on staff costs, number one, but number two, too, really, some of this stuff, and I think you're right, I mean, I think if you look at some of this and it really lends itself to a consultant, and some of it you could probably pick off. You've got it broken down into real, into some real duties that you could pick off and do, I think. And there's a certain advantage to doing it to staff, and that is, of course, that their staff becomes then aware
Right.
of what the regulations are, how the regulations work. You know, really it's a form of training that you're gonna end up having to do. You know, there's another cost that is in here that you gotta pick up, and that's training that you wouldn't have to do if you were staff. So I'm just wondering if, you know, what they would say if we were to use staff instead of outside consultants. We heard our bid proposal.
My reaction to it, Phil, is that some of this here is beyond the expertise of the existing staff, so that you could spend a
Some
lot
of-
more
Yep.
getting them up to speed. The one thing that bothers me about this, Greg, is that in task 2, we talk about review and evaluating permitting software. And I think the staff definitely has to be involved in that, because they're the ones that have to make it work, although they should probably need some expertise help. Then it says, develop electronic versions of application forms. And I'm saying, we're doing that in advance of procuring the software, which might have some implication, although we've reviewed and looked at various software. It seems to be a little out of sync or I'm missing something, that's all.
Actually, we're hoping, we would not anticipate doing the electronic forms too early in the process. I think the intent would be to have applications that, a lot of information is duplicated right now, and we certainly would not want to develop forms too early in the process before we've identified our hardware and software.
I think in our budget proposal too, we were actually talking about increasing the IT people to a half, full-time equivalent, half person. If we're successful in this grant application, maybe that person would then, we get another person, the work they do, and maybe they'd be interested in some employment here, but position also which would get them to additional training and help some of our staff. So timing-wise, this could be pretty good, if it works out for us.
I also think the one thing we have to, I mean, I think Phil has a good idea, but we have to be careful with the workload we put on the staff, because that's one thing we always say, well, let's try to do it in-house. Well, I'm sure things are starting to pile up a little bit for the in-house staff too, so.
It is, you know, it's pretty interesting in the short time that I've been here. I have listened to the town clerk's request for a digital filing system, and it's a great idea. It just hasn't happened because we haven't had the money and other things that take priority over. My thought is that if we can purchase this equipment and have an expert come in and recommend it to us, and have our IT staff on board as kind of being the second level of detailed review and approval of the consultant's report, that may be in turn be a valuable role for staff to really screen through the consultant's report and determine the feasibility of it. And then before anything is adopted, the IT staff then has the ability to say whether it's going to work or not, or whether they think it can be maintained, we can train people over an extended period of time. I think they have a role that's probably at the second level versus the first one.
We have an IT staff of Gene.
Yeah,
He's the man,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I would hate to check and see what his hourly rate is right now. I mean, his car is here 24/7. The guy is certainly dedicated to his
Exactly what
job.
I'm saying.
And it's, I agree with you, Joe. I don't know if there's much more we can put on
Much more you can put on
this
his
poor
shoulders.
fellow.
Yeah.
He's already.
And by the way, just in case everyone's forgot, we budgeted it and have sitting, although we haven't gone out and done too much with it because Joe Tassoni's been on leave, is that we put in money for the county side, which is a job in its own. So, that's another
Yeah.
burden to the staff, because any one of these new programs, it's gonna take extra effort to get it up and working while everything else is wrong. You just can't drop what you're doing.
That's what I mean.
And until it's in place and functional,
Yeah.
it's more of a burden
A burden.
before you start saving. Keep that in mind too. We have one funded project already we haven't been able to get underway because of staffing issues. All right, so